And welcome here to this lovely start to the Unified Advanced League 2021 Fall Split. I'm very excited to be bringing you the start of the season, hopefully every game afterwards. Of course, you know who we are, but let's go ahead. We'll introduce ourselves. My name is Orbital, coming from outer space, and just spawning in for this game is Random Minion Caster. RMC, how you doing today?
Doing good. It's back to school season here, Orbital, and it's back to Unified Advanced League season as well. And game one of the entire split here, Orbital, Team Ambition Black and Longhorn Gaming premiere. You might not recognize one of those names. Team Ambition might sound new, but they are the remaining heirs of the current reigning champions, Mad City, who disbanded. They're the only team who's got any players left from the reigning champs.
Yeah, that'll be a really fun one to watch. And of course, with new and old faces returning, I always say this, and it sounds like a cop-out, but it's true. First week always brings either surprises or landslides. It's one of the two. And with the remaining roster of Mad City, I'm very curious to see how it goes, because Longhorn Gaming are also no strangers. They actually played, I believe, last split as well.
Yeah, Longhorn Gaming, I believe the team was Cream last split, and this split, it's Premier, but it's pretty much the same thing. Longhorn Gaming is the University of Texas at Austin College team here. So they're preparing for CLOL, and the current team that they've entered has experience playing competitively, but not together. So week one is always going to be a test of which teams can mesh faster here, who can really come together. And it always feels like week one depends on individual mechanics, which team seems to have the better players. So I am looking forward to a technical feast for the eyes.
I mean, we're hoping so. We are hoping so, or it's just a convoluted circus music parade that goes through our entire screen. Both of those are fun. Both of those are fun. I will say, I've had my fair share of minute-and-a-half fights where they spawn back in time to run back out. It's chaos, and to have chaos in the first series is entertaining. At the same time, though, we've had a lot of changes over the course of the last few patches. Obviously, we're heading into patch 11.19, I think either this week or next. That's the one with actually Vex being released. But since then, we've had two patches where I'm pretty sure they have either buffed or nerfed or changed about 25 individual champions.
Yeah, because these are the world champions technical patches here, so they're just adjusting slightly to balance things left and right. Not huge changes, but little ones. One of the biggest things, though, and this comes from an earlier patch, and was Akshan coming in during the playoffs. We did not get to see Akshan. He was banned, disabled the entire duration pretty much by unified rules. But now in the new season, Akshan is a champion that can come in, and I am hoping that we might get to see it, because when I have seen him in competitive play, he either looks incredibly broken or incredibly useless.
It's one of the two, right? It's one of the two. You're just like, is it the
Yeah.
action on my team? It's like the old Yasuo tales, right? Is it my team Yasuo? Because if it's my team Yasuo, it's terrible. It's the enemy team Yasuo, it's great. And it feels like it, right? Akshan is a champion that for some reason scales incredibly well, but it feels so difficult to get some of those wins. And especially with the new wave of champions that are hitting that mid lane, it's going to be kind of a big challenge. I know one thing, we probably aren't going to see Lucian mid that much, right? The entire kit pretty much revolves around a support duo in the bottom side. So you don't have as many AD options in the mid anymore. A couple others, I know there has been talk about Fizz rising up in the solo queue areas. And currently Fizz is actually... I read the patch notes earlier today. Fizz is unfortunately getting I think a revert now, going back. The Guppy is getting a little bit of love here and there, but it's craziness. It feels like these players do have a little bit more freedom in terms of what they're going to select, and especially into a champion like Akshan. I mean, do you think we may even see like a Kiana come out?
Kiana did get somewhat nerfed in the mid lane, more towards the jungle. Knowing what we've seen from Castle before, I don't think it's a champion that he's practiced particularly strongly.
Yeah,
if we look on the other side for Yellow Bumblebee, maybe he does play quite a few assassins, but I don't know if anybody... I'm not really seeing the Kiana jungle yet. I'm more interested in a Mumu and not in the jungle anymore, because with that Q double buff change, we start seeing him in the support position. I still think he's strong in the jungle, but in the support position with mages, he looks absolutely busted right now.
Yeah, it's to see the Mummy actually get some love and attention. It's so on brand for him. It's going to be a huge change up, but we are into the draft now. It's going to be a very entertaining time. Of course, you can see Team Ambition Black on that blue side, Longhorn Gaming Premier on that red. It's going to be kicking things off, and to actually run things out, Cry Now and Yellow Bumblebee actually have Zed banned against them, which a lot of people have been talking about it, right? Zed in the jungle might be that sneaky champion if you really want to piss your opponents off.
Yeah, and he's got one of the fastest jungle clears right now. That said, I don't think this one's targeted at Yellow Bumblebee. It's probably more at Cry Now. Cry Now, the mid laner here for Longhorn, is known to play a lot of Zed. And when I did get a chance to talk a little bit to Team Ambition, they mentioned that they actually are familiar with the mid laner and support of Longhorn Gaming. So that feels like a definite target there. And we should note as well that the top laner for Longhorn Gaming in this game one is not the usual starter Yoon. Crusher Cake is coming in to cover for this game one. And so that Urgot ban, 100% targeted, because when I checked Crusher Cake's match history, all I saw was Urgot, and I think one game of Mundo.
I mean, the same can be said about the Ari, right? I think Sanom has is a fairly good one-trick Ari player. So to have that targeted band is, I think, is a fair trade. However, we are taking a look. The Graze is banned away, still one of the premier junglers currently. Last band's coming out here. The Xin Zhao is hovered, and I like this ban. I don't like having a Xin Zhao run around anywhere, and leaving it open is always a terrifying prospect.
Yeah, Xin Zhao did get nerfed. Diana got nerfed. The old Trinity in the jungle is broken. Viego as well taking some hits. And with that, we've seen the rise of Lee Sin, who I believe did just get nerfed, I think on patch 11.18, or maybe it was on 19 that he'll get nerfed. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see an early Lee Sin being picked up by one of these two teams here.
Yeah, well, it looks like the Hecarim is still banned away, and just as you predicted, you are on point. The Lee Sin Hover is coming out here. We'll see if they do lock it in, because again, locking in a Lee Sin does tend to lend itself to some crazy CC being brought out on the other side, but they will. They'll go ahead and say, we'll take that chance. It's game one. Let's go ahead and run it.
Okay, and while we were talking a little bit about, the fact that Crusher Cake's coming in for you, and I believe on the side of Team Ambition Black as well, there's been a small change in the support position. Originally, Jiggity was listed as their starter, but JP is the shortened form for Jana Princess, who's going to be stepping in as their potential starter, I believe now, for support position. I don't have much information on them here. Now, Longhorn, they're answering the jungle right away with Olaf here, and personally, I'm not a huge fan of early Olaf picks unless you know that it's going to be that Xin Zhao and you're looking for something to duel against that Xin Zhao. Paired with the LeBlanc, though, there is a lot of kill threat into the mid lane, especially if they can ever land those chains.
Yeah, and the immediate counter, of course, is going to be that possible Morgana. It's an old age tactic, I want to say. It's one that a lot of teams don't exactly love running because Morgana has kind of fallen in and out, I want to say, of that A to B tier area. So instead, they are going to go with the more versatile option, which is Lee Sin. Of course, the combination, the shockwave transfer with Lee Sin, you got to love it. And Soraka, okay, we're going a little bit offhand here, not matching up with the Wombo combo, but going for the sustained battle.
Okay, and I like it. Soraka also received some changes in the unified off-season here orbital, where her wish, her ultimate, now removes any grievous wounds before applying. So the healing hits harder. You can't really cut it. And it's a good answer to Olaf because you can't CC Olaf. So your two answers are either you have shields and heals to protect the target he's going after, or you've got enough damage to just burst him right off the bat. And what are we seeing here, Orbital? Enchantress coming out last week, a month ago. It was all about the tanks, all about the engage. But now, what is the Soraka and Sona season 1?
I love it. I love it so much because I've been a fan of Sona for quite some time, mostly because of the stacking. If you don't know me, if you haven't seen him in solo queue, good, because I either like win okay in the mid or I lose just terribly. It's one or the other. But Sona has one of the best interactions, I think personally, with the stacking CDR or ability haze going into the kit innately, and so that's something that I want to see someone play up to the tempo. I want to see if Loopsters is able to really utilize that in the bottom side. We are getting into the second round of bans here, so we are seeing those engaged champions, those safety champions taken away, the Camille taken off on the red side, and of course Shen taken away on the TAB side, saying, hey, look, that Olaf does not get a free shield to move into the fights.
Yeah, and on top of that, both teams have not selected their bot laners as well as the top laners. We're seeing a top lane pinch, but oddly enough, no AD carry pinch. I mean, Varus is still very strong in the current meta. Yes, he got some nerfs, but everybody's still playing him. And as I say that, I think the Ambition realized that, oh, wait, hold up. We don't get first pick here. Okay, a switch to Seraphine. And that tells me that they're thinking they might have been considering a Sona Seraphine bot lane. Sona and Sona 2.0. That is frightful. That is terrible. Do not play with my heart. That Akshan hover. Yeah. Okay.
I would have actually liked to see the Lucian. I have not seen a team utilize the Lucian yet. And so it's something that's really, really interesting. A Lucian, every time you get like a heal, I think a shield, you get an empowered extra auto instead of the blatant, after a skill use. So comboing is something with a Sona is always really interesting. Same with the Soraka, but instead we are falling back to the simple, right? Ashe to kick things off for LGP. On the flip side, you do have that multiple weapons coming out, the 200 years or maybe about 190, if you will, coming out on that bot side.
Yeah, and paired with that Soraka as well, you can already tell what they want to do, right? They've got good poke in lane, and what they're just trying to do is scale up to that later point. But they need some sort of team fighting tool as well. And I love the Aatrox pickup here because you've already got the ball delivery system with the Lee Sin, and Shockwave with a mobile champion isn't engaged in and of itself. But once they're all together, Aphelios by himself, yeah, sure, if he's got Infernum up, great team fight. But without Infernum, you want to have a more reliable team fight tool just in case you don't have the right gun combos. So I love the Aatrox. And for Longhorn here, they're still looking for a top laner. And I'd be very surprised if that Fiddlesticks was it. Mel fight, much, much better for them because now you don't have to rely on Sona trying to land a perfect crescendo here. You can use that enchanted crystal arrow to get the pick on the single target. If they try and protect that single target, Melfight goes in, setting up that crescendo, and then by then they're going to be so chunked that it's going to be so easy for Olaf to just finish, go in, mop up, or LeBlanc to go in and play janitor.
Yeah, instead of just one single point of attack, you have three. You will not know where someone is going to hit you, and I love that fact. The Aatrox, though, is one that we've seen actually climb up in that top lane. A lot of people have kind of been frustrated going up against an Aatrox again. We remember the days pre-rework of a very scary Aatrox just soloing out your entire team, and now it seems it's back, right? So taking kind of that losing lane and praying that Aatrox doesn't get out of control is the name of the game for LGP.
And yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting how these sort of teams are going to stack up. It feels like both have kind of gone for scaling a little bit with what they want to achieve. And I really do want to go back to that Sona pick once again, Orbital, because I know you love Sona. I'm not as big a fan of Sona, but I love where it was picked in this draft here, right? You know that it's going to be a Soraka. You know that, hey, they're not going to be able to all in this this Sona very effectively. And if it gets to scaling, sure, Soraka gets very scary late, right? And like we said, with the new Wish, removing Grievous Wounds first before it applies, the healing is going to be very strong. But the stacking, the cooldown reduction, that crescendo is so impactful. The reason why Seraphine was so terrifying to play against was also because of her ultimate. And sure, Sona's doesn't bounce as far, but it's still such a strong tool. And if your cooldown reduction is, every 40 seconds or so, then it's just going to be so strong. And her scaling as well on the Hymn of Valor, on that Aria of Endurance, the healing, the shielding, and the attack damage boost does count. It's similar to Ornn, right? Ornn Masterwork items, 1,000 gold each. The sheer amount of attack damage she adds is very significant as well. And while Ashe is not as strong a late game carry as Aphelios, if you're adding that to the Olaf, to the Ashe, with the combined initial upfront burst, I think they can still win the team fights in the late game.
Oh, yeah. It's just watching out for that shockwave, watching out for that all-in combo. And they have so many opportunities, but we'll only get to see what they can bring to the Rift as we are on for game number 1 here. We see Team Ambition Black on the blue, LGP on the red. So let's go ahead and introduce the players all the way through. For Team Ambition Black, we have Rascal in the top lane, Castle in the jungle, Sanam in the mid lane, all for one at ADC, and Janet Princess, as you stated before, coming in here, possibly the new starting support for TAB on support.
And on the red side here, Longhorn Gaming Premier, the best of the best. It's Crusher Cake subbing in the top lane here. Yellow Bumblebee in the jungle. Cry Now in the mid lane. Naz and Loopsers in the bot lane here. And they might have found Sanom here. There's no kill threat, but hey, just some poke is going to stick.
Oh, yeah. Axe is also having a little bit of fun there. So running them all the way out of the jungle is kind of nice. Castle won't have a great start. The W start from Cry Now, though, if you invade, I've always enjoyed running the chains first. Oh man, get the sneaky little grab there. But if you don't have anything to back it up, it's just like now your level 1 laning phase is kind of screwed.
I mean, you're up against an Orianna, right? So it's not the worst of the world. What is Orianna going to do? She's going to run you down with auto attacks. And don't take this wrongly. The autos definitely do chunk, but it's not about the burst damage. And if you can land that chain, you stop her from following up. So it's actually not a bad choice for level 1 in lane. My bigger concern right now is actually for Team Ambition's early game. You've got a Lee Sin who's nice and aggressive in the early game, but you don't necessarily have a great lane to play through. Soraka, Aphelios' all-in threat isn't very high. Orianna's all-in threat, again, very, very low, especially against the slippery likes of a LeBlanc. There's really only kill threat in the top lane, and as long as Crusher Cake plays safely here, you can't dive the Malphite early.
Yeah. Not allowed to. You can't stop the Rock as much as you wish you could. However, you can chip away at him, and Rascal so far is feeling okay about this setup. Again, since Crusher did go the refillable or the corrupting potions, it does mean he's a little bit squishier in lane instead of opting for that Doran shield, right? So you can see the poke going down already, the shards going out, and now bot lane with the level 2 being hit. Means just about everyone is starting to lay into each other, trying to find that chip damage and prep for those junglers to meet them in lane.
Oh, I don't even want to look at this bot lane right now between Soraka and Soda. I don't think we're going to see any early kills, between just the two bot lanes. You need the jungle pressure to come in, and Castle started bot side. So this Lee Sin's looking more likely for a top side gank. Instead, we have to keep our eyes on Yellow Bumblebee because he did run Ghost. And what I want to see from Olaf's who run Ghost is really aggressive early ganks. It is a shorter cooldown, and if you blow flashes, you can revisit that lane in a couple of minutes.
Crusher getting a little bit of damage on the top side, but of course with Rascal's healing, it means that giant wave is going to collapse top, meaning that Castle gets a free reign over that Rift Scuttle in the top side. Looks like he's going to be cheating towards that top end and the top and mid, and that means Yellow Bumblebee is relegated to the bottom side as an Olaf unfortunately gets to do.
And good read from All For One and Janet Princess there. They get the ward down to try and spot out the Olaf, but they don't see Yellow Bumblebee. He's made it over the wall, and we might see first gank coming into the bot lane.
Oh, they're going to try. Possibly. He has made it over, and there
Oh,
goes
here we go.
Loopser walking forward. Gets a good slow off. Axe does
Oh, good flash.
land, but an immediate gravitum means that the gank doesn't actually bring too much. Gianna Princess eats one more axe, and Yellow Bumblebee can be happy he pulled the flash out of a Soraka. It means that the Soraka is definitely not stepping up to aggress at all.
Yeah, and didn't even have to burn Ghost for that particular gank here. Now, with that Ghost still available, even if that ward does spot a gank coming in from the Olaf, you can brute force it if you want, and it might work. And with an Aphelios Soraka too, you don't have anybody who wants to tank this. Both of them have to watch out. Now, Crusher Cake, no mana.
Oh, yeah, and Rascal's going to be free to auto-attack in that wave. And AutoCam says, nah, nothing else happening up there. So let's go ahead and take a look at bot again. Getting those roots down onto Nas and trying to get the damage. Mid lane, we do see Cry now trying to dance it through in the mid lane. So overall, it seems TAB are getting the better of some of these early game trades.
Little bit here, and that is surprising. I mean, the mid lane is very, very equal and fair. Both are just gonna kind of farm up right now. All we saw was just really crashing the wave and resetting from Sanom there, and you can already see that Sanom just has to be careful still for Cry now. The bot lane is where I'm a little bit surprised that this Aphelios Soraka is winning out or is able to control the lane as much as they have here. They've not really been shoved in, and against the likes of an Ashe with that volley in the early game, that is a little bit surprising. The top lane, Rascal winning out, is pretty much what we've expected. And if anything, I'm actually just a little bit surprised that we've still not seen Castle try and look for anything in that top lane.
Yeah. Instead, he's been looking for the enemy side jungle, and both junglers meeting on this bottom side with an Infernal Drake being potentially played for. They are prepping accordingly, right? Pink Ward dropped into the center. Crusher trying to go forward, but gets dragged right back. So Rascal gets a little bit of a chance, but with that raw damage that Crusher got from recalling and teleporting back, a Thornmail will definitely negate a lot of Rascal's abilities. And considering he got that coal, means he's going to have to recall and teleport back as well.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be very, very important, because if we see that Castle is trying to pressure for that dragon there, that teleport mismatch would have allowed Team Ambition to call all 5 members down and guarantee themselves a team fight win. But if Rascal has to TP back to lane, which he isn't doing, he's walking this back up, then he wouldn't have it available. So even now, Team Ambition still have better dragon control. And the fact that Yellow Bumblebee is getting a solo dragon is kind of criminal here.
Not just that, it's an Infernal, right? You don't allow those to go on its own. And we were wondering if they were going to contest, but it seems TAB are just happy about giving it over. It's an Olaf. Okay, that's what we deal with. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Loopser is going to take a little bit of damage. Dragon goes down, and that means a little bit extra damage. But you got to land the abilities for the damage to go through, so Cry now not allowed to get the chain off.
And props to Sanom as well right now. With LeBlanc, she wants to win the lane. She wants to get kills. If you're able to keep LeBlanc down in lane, that is step 1 of the process. And the fact that they're pretty much dead even in terms of CS is a win for this Orianna here. And we're not likely to see that changed in the immediate future, because Cry now still hasn't really bought major items. Invade coming in, Castle does secure it.
Yeah, a little bit slow on that ward hop, but Castle is allowed to keep it. Bumblebee actually did not have smite up, so couldn't smite it away. Means that Castle only takes a bit of chip damage and is immediately forced out. That also means Loopsters and Nas are going to go ahead and try and chip out. You're trying to chip away at a healing machine on both sides, though. I mean, it feels like a waste of mana at this point.
And I feel like even if you did chip Castle down, first of all, he's got the Safeguard Iron Will. He can heal up. And second of all, he can always just run to the bot lane and get a heal from Soraka and be right back in the jungle as well. So not super, super effective. Instead, we're seeing a rotation coming up here. Yellow Bumblebee and Cry now looking to get some top side control. And I love it, because Crusher Cake is shoved in. And that does mean that Rascal has to overextend or surrender the Herald.
Ooh, and that was a cheeky brush attempt. Crusher still going forward. And I mean, these teams, no kill at 8.5 minutes, and so far, no way to cut through the healing as well. No Executioners calling just yet. Lee Sin waiting off on the wings. Castle wanting to try and make a play, but of course, the pink ward is going to spot that one out. It's the kick. Oh, Nas went for it, and you leave your support open. Oh, Nas, you play with fire, you get burned. And that is Loopsters going. That was the slowest first blood I think I've ever seen.
A little bit, and I was just thinking, hey, you know what? Longhorn's got all the tools right now. They're hitting 6. Crescendo's about to come up. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is already available. But no, they just did not respect. They had full vision on Castle, and they just kind of waited around, and they really shouldn't have there. Comes back to bite them. But while all that's happening, Yellow Bumblebee is able to at least pick up the Herald there. So they're still ahead despite giving up first blood.
Yeah, that was a good play. And we will get to wait and see as the tower does get pushed in, and that's going to mean the Ashe is not allowed to stick around at all. Crusher on the top side, though, getting a great wave off, and that does mean Rascal is forced to try and kind of soak that up. And it's crazy that Crusher, as a Malphite, is winning out in these points, and Yellow Bumblebee is saying, listen, I got Herald. We're going to do something up here.
Yeah, hey, Unstoppable Force is available. This is eminently diveable, and it's forced to TP out of the mid lane now. Bumblebee under turret, has to be careful.
Oh, a good dodge on that ultimate, though. The Unstoppable Force is not going to land with the Shockwave drawing him in. That is going to be Yellow Bumblebee's life going down. TAB coming out with wins on both the bottom and top side.
Zero hesitation from the side of Team Ambition Black here. You love to see it. The TP coming up was going to cost Sanome if they didn't get a kill at least. And because Crusher Cake and Yellow Bumblebee, they were still thinking we can maybe potentially dive this. You kind of can't. Once Road Ender was popped for Rascal, they needed to back off. And now that's 2 kills here. I don't care that you got a Herald. Herald for 1 is worth. Herald for 2, not so much.
Yeah, that has to hurt. And with that teleport, Cry now also didn't get that much of a lead, right? Normally, if your lane opponent leaves, you want to see that CS expand. You want to see those plates go down, and yet Cry now is only 3 CS up. That is not where you want to have it. This LeBlanc has not been allowed to rotate out of lane. And so far, the early game going in favor of Team Ambition Black. They are collecting everything on the map. With a minute and a half left for Dragon, they're starting to have a few more opportunities granted to them.
And crying out first buy on the Sork boots there. It's not that lost chapter. So this LeBlanc isn't looking to sit in lane and deal with this ever-pushing Orianna. You want to roam, you want to make tracks and find kills elsewhere here. But the person making tracks right now is Janna Princess. And I love the fact that you can do this with Soraka. You just play medic or ambulance here. Wherever you need heals, you just run to that lane, drop a heal or 2, run back to your actual bot lane here, and all for 1 is perfectly fine. Your mid lane's going to thank you, your jungle is going to thank you, and you get better sustain that way.
Well, one good thing that Cry now has been allowed is being able to land all those, but that's going to be the Crystal Arrow into the Crescendo. It's an easy kill when you're CC'd for 4 seconds. That is going to be a little bit of revenge on the bottom side. Aphelios is happy and safe. Once again, the meatballs in the top side are just trying to chip away at each other. Still, good kill on the bottom side for Nas.
And I feel like this is what I wanted to see at level 6 from the Ashe Sona combo. Like we said before, Soraka and Aphelios are both hyper squishy. And sure, Aphelios does have that cleanse, but Soraka doesn't. And now they can continue to do this on repeat. But Castle is waiting in the wings here, and we've seen this happen before with Castle.
Oh, but a nice minion wave dance means Nas and Loopers are allowed to play for free, and they get the kill. It will be traded for the support's life, and possibly Nas's. Here comes Yellow Bumblebee, though, coming in for potential help. Teleport a little bit late, so Yellow Bumblebee is going to go for it. Pops the Ragnarok a little bit early, or a little bit late, I should say. Unstoppable Force landing only on 1, though. Crusher tries to dive on Janna Princess, and Janna Princess is like, cool, I'll take it. Traded junglers under the tower. They go 1 more slam on the ground, and that is going to be the trades across. LGP are able to pick up 3 for 2. 3 for 3 actually on the bottom side, so even trade and they pull the teleport. So out of all of that, actually, Rascal is the big winner.
Yeah, because he gets to just keep pushing that top lane, soaking up the wave and catching back up to Crusher Cake here. Orbital, normally you pick a Malphite for the ultimate. It's all about that Unstoppable Force. Crusher Cake's the opposite. That's 2 ultimates now, which haven't been optimal, and he still finds ways to just dominate with his other abilities instead. The flash forward to secure the kill as well. And with those kills here, it does mean that Crusher Cake has no more teleport, no more ultimate available. Dragon is up. So I want to see Team Ambition go for this one here. Start to stop that Dragon stacking. You have that TP from Rascal, and we've not seen it used.
Hasn't really had a chance to. He's been happy farming up, getting that coal stacks completed. LGP, of course, gonna kick it off first. Teleport is available, but no big ultimates. Remember, big cooldowns for all of them. Castle has a chance. And with not split, this is actually going to be a little bit rough. 4-on-3, but a 3-on-3 if they cheat top. Turret plating is going to fall soon with the Malphite in the mid lane. It seems that they've given it up. Don't want to take that risky chance. So second dragon goes Yellow Bumblebee's way with the oceans coming to life.
Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised they didn't try and contest that. But then again, it's just a Mountain Drake. It's a singular one. It's not the end of the world. You can give that up. And now my question is, what is Team Ambition going to do to make it worth? If you're going to give up dragons, you need to get something for it here. Wasn't quite a plate. It was just kind of a wave, and Crusher Cake is still up in that top lane. So Roscoe had better be able to make something happen. Sanum?
Sanum is going to be able to get away safely. Loopsters as well. Even the Moonlight Vigil only lands on one. And I mean, it was just a CC ultimate. Can't really do too much more with it. An expenditure of ultimates pretty much in mid and top means everyone is allowed to go home safely.
I'm still more shocked over what happened in the mid lane because Crynow almost died there. And in the bot lane, sure, that was exciting, but they're healthier, if anything. Crescendo still up and available for Loopster. So if there is one ultimate, it is that Sona ultimate. And I want to see Bumblebee come back down here once again. If they can land out on a Soraka, they can get a kill. Good delay on Castle's back, though, and they're going in for it.
Yeah, and that's because the junglers are fighting each other. That means everyone's alive on the other side for Pickings, but Janna is able to go into that stasis, is going to meet the axe of the face, but Rascal has teleported straight down, but they get a pick on the top side. Yellow Bumblebee is able to get two. They will go ahead and sacrifice Sona. World Ender is up, and they are going to go for the chase. The nice dodge on the side. Crynow is here, and the chain lands, but can they continue? Can they try and find more? Another teleport comes in. Sanum is going to try and follow up, and with one auto attack, Crynow with the clone is able to dupe 3. Now can anyone follow up? Actually gets rooted, gets tagged, jumps in, jumps right back out, and with 100 HP, the Q is going to land. That finishes off the life of the assassin. And it evens out, right? 7-6 overall kill score. No one comes out the wiser.
Crusher comes out the wiser. I mean, when we saw Crusher going to the bot lane and Roscoe not responding, Roscoe got 2 plates and maybe 2 waves. This one TP from Roscoe cost them a first brick as well as multiple waves here. Not to mention, the trade was worth it for them in the bot wave as well. I mean, Crynow burnt so much time. If anything, it's just a little unfortunate that Crynow didn't get a single assist. And I was kind of hoping to see the flash away in the actual escape. All for one, though.
All for one, none for all. You are going to go down. 0-3 is the scoreline for the very, very unfortunate ADC.
I mean, kind of. They burnt the Unstoppable Force from Crusher Cake there, so it was a lot for one person, but it does the AD carry, so they certainly found the right target there. And even better is they secure that kill, Herald's up and available, and they pick that up smoothly, efficiently, because it's just by the way.
Yep. Why not? Right? And I am happy to see that the second Rift Herald is more of an afterthought. That's something that a lot of people tend to not give as much. You can sometimes see a large fight over second Rift Herald, but I mean, what do you really get with it? Right? You're not going to get plays. You're not going to get too much out of it. So it's just opening up the base a bit more. No reason to expend a lot of wards and energy unless it's like a little drive-by, unless it's on the way home. So they are able to collect it. That's the second one for them. So far, LGP have done a great job in containing every single global objective that's come up.
Yeah, and now that we're 17 minutes in, first turret falling down, this is usually the stage of the game where we start to see teams group up and play to their fight conditions. And both these teams have big team fight tools available to them. So I want to see them use it. We've not really seen Team Ambition kick off big fights here. It's been kind of just ganks and how they go. And look at their composition. It relies on Castle getting into the right position with the shockwave from Sanum or a beautiful insect, a dragon kick to really get things started. Whereas for Longhorn, they have so many tools to make things happen that I want to see those Ash arrows just being thrown out left and right here.
They want to, and I mean, with Castle sitting in this bot side, has pitched a pretty nice tent down there. It's become a little bit of a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's drawing a lot of attention down there, and that makes everyone very itchy, is what I feel like, right? That means Nas is ready to go at the drop of a hat. It means that Arrow's going to be coming out. And at this point, I almost want to say All For One needs to start body blocking for Janet Princess if you have the cleanse, because they're going to go for Soraka 9 times out of 10. Sanum, though, is now on the receiving end of multi-gank, is able to flash away to safety. So
the arrow!
Okay. But the arrow a little bit downtown is going to land. Crescendo Whisk, though, just on the short end, is going to get collapsed on. A very nice wish, is able to keep Sanum alive for a little bit longer, but the axe is able to meet their end. A nice flurry of arrows comes out as well. And this is LGP running TAB out of their own side jungle. All For One. You walked into 5 and you meet your 4th death of the game. At 18:45, LGP have found an ace for 0.
Both teams dropped a team fighting comps. Both teams decided to throw rock in rock, paper, scissors, and the bigger rock won. You do not beat the Malphite in a team fight here. And not only do they get a clean ace, they get themselves soul point with this Ocean Drake as well. An Ocean Soul. I mean, sure, you might have Soraka, but if you've got Sona and an Ocean Soul, that's going to be even more healing. Longhorn Gaming Premier have just put themselves in a killer position in 5 minutes.
And I just want to say, that was without the crescendo. Loopsters unfortunately shortchanged that ultimate. It barely came close, and they did that without that ultimate, and it just shows, every single one of these fights is going to come down to the preparation, to how well is your team coordinated, who is getting the jump on who. And you said it right, the bigger rock won, and at this point, who is going to cut the rock, who is going to chisel away at him, turn him into a very nice statue for your win? No one really has it, right? We're not seeing any HP cut. We do see the execution calling on Rascal, but you don't have anything to really take away the HP. You don't see a Last Whisper anytime soon. And All For One has been picked on so much that I don't think he's going to be allowed to even come close to picking up that item.
Yeah, and if you look at how that fight started as well, Sanum was just too far up, right? With these team compositions, the burst is very, very high. Sure, if you survive, we saw Janet Princess, the healing coming out from that Soraka, already extending Sanum's life significantly. They should have been instantly dead there. But if you're that low to start, all the healing won't be enough to save you. So vision becomes paramount here. Having the right people be with you is super important as well. Castle lands the kick, but not in a position to follow up.
I don't think you want to follow up into a Soraka. It's been tried once or twice before. Yes, you got lucky with one of them. Doing it now just is inviting a little bit of trouble. So he goes Sonic Wave. That's all that's going to land. Bottom side, of course, the fighting is still going on. And now it's the jockeying for position of those waves, right? Who can get the waves in position first? Who is able to pressure in for these towers? As currently, LGP have not lost a single one. Team Ambition Black have been struggling to take down these towers and start getting some of that extra gold.
And we said it a little bit earlier about how, arrow lands, but I don't think they can pull up. Okay, yeah, we're good here. We started out by saying in week 1, it usually tends to be the more mechanical team, the team with the better players that wins. But that isn't the case right now. Longhorn isn't winning through individual mechanics. They're just playing cleaner. Did I say that?
Yeah, Castle is also playing pretty clean. That's a kill, but can they follow up with a little bit more? That's going to be the wish coming out. All For One staying alive for a little bit longer. Can't get much more, though. That's a 2-for-1, 2-for-2 so far. Unstoppable Force lands straight into the back line, and this is a 4-on-5 fight that LGP are winning. Cry has not been in the fight, and now comes in to try help out the team. That is not before Rascal is able to take one. A flash into the chain means Sanum is going to be rooted under the tower, and a final distortion means Cry now gets the cleanup. And Ace 3 now. LGP so far are looking more and more dominant as time goes on.
And that was a great initiate from Team Ambition. Castle caught Nas. But the issue was that, sure, you killed Loopster, you burst them down, but they couldn't cut through Bumblebee and Crusher Cake. Those two meaty, tanky front lines just ripped everything apart. And Cry now actually arrived late to the fight. That is the strength of this gold lead. And the fact that All For One went with that shield bow doesn't quite have the armor penetration built yet, the Lord Dominic's, to really cut through these tanks, as you mentioned. And now, in a minute and a half, I still don't think that Lord Dominic's is going to be ready. And I think by that time, Longhorn's going to be ready, sat waiting at the Dragon Soul, at the Ocean Soul, to force Team Ambition into them.
And I think it's crazy enough to point out that Castle spent a majority of his gank opportunities in the bot side as well, right? All for One and Jenna Princess were the two that were ganked the most, right? First Blood was on the bot side; it was gifted over, and I think that was to All for One. So, with all of the pressure that they have given, it definitely hurts that now your ADC is 1-5, your support is 0-5. And it's kind of just the downside of what's fallen through. So Nas and Loopsters, having played so well, are now providing themselves those opportunities. Wits End completed for Nas, right? 2 items deep, and we even see, I think that is a Magi Soul Stealer. That's going to be the arrow landing, though. Nas not enjoying this fight on the backline. Ensemble Force is able to grab 3, and that sections them all out. LGP are going to sacrifice Nas, and everyone on TAB side is running. This is the most unfortunate pain train that I've seen run on TAB so far. With the ADC down, though, they're still chasing All for One. Finally goes down to Yellow Bumblebee. The Bumblebee is stinging multiple times. A triple kill for the all-off. Make it a quadra. No penta, but close enough. They will take the ace. A 3rd ace in a row. Just in time for Ocean Soul to arrive.
Another clean ace. It just feels like every time a fight kicks out, by the end of it, it's going to be an ace one way or another. And Crusher Cake, forget party, surprise party fiddlesticks. I want a surprise party Malphite skin just for Crusher Cake right now. Because that 3-man ultimate into the entire backline, the squishies, none of them pumped out any damage. And if you're comparing Rascal and Castle to Crusher and Bumblebee right now, Bumblebee's Olaf is an absolute monster. 9, 2, and 9. He's going to shred your backline. Sure, Castle's kind of built, but his sustained damage just isn't as strong. And now that's an 11-kill lead, 7,000 gold lead, plus an Ocean Soul. Longhorn can just walk to Baron and just brute force this. And Team Ambition here, they've got to find some sort of creative pick because you're not going to win any sort of 5v5 right here. Oh, did they find it?
Yeah, they might have. Lucers has to pull that ultimate early, but Ensemble Force straight in the backline is going to land. Another arrow falls out, but Lucers is going to go very low. Finally gets dropped, but now they need to get alive. World Ender is still stalling out. All for One, firing off shot. Rascal getting dropped to about 25%, but Janna is healing everyone up at Soraka. Weird sentence to say, of course. Crusher Cake is going to throw out a little bit of a shard. But you were asking, right? Are they going to find that opportunity? Are they going to find that small little pick? It's a support. It's the Sona. But it's a pick nonetheless.
And that's the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen Loopsters get picked as this Sona right now. And sure, you were just warding the cry of supports through the ages here, but you're not on a tank. I think perhaps the supports are a little too used to the tank meta here. You should not be the one walking up alone. You need to buddy up with somebody there. And the fact that it took them so long to kill Loopsters, Krynal was in base. Krynal managed to actually reach the fight at the end of it. And that's really what's zoning off Team Ambition from starting up Baron. And just as I say that, they're starting this up, and I am not a fan of this.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit rough. Jana Prince is all the way in the backside, but a very nice Silence Beast Cry is going to get predicted. Oh, the Sonic Wave catches Cry out. It's going to go one more way, but that's a swing. That's a shutdown for Rascal. Predictions OP as this Baron attempt has netted TAB 2 kills so far for 0.
Yeah, they're still going to try and go for this here. I mean, they're healthy, but Loopsters is back up. And look at the poke that's coming down here. Castle?
Oh, Castle. Castle can't find the angle. That is such a feels bad moment, but they're going to get the heal out. Nas is slowly chipping away. He is kiting like a madman, kiting everyone out. Look at this Ashe dance. The Ice Princess herself is going to get that kill. Now the follow-up is there. TAB are getting routed. LGP getting revenge. A crescendo landing on the Orianna. Orianna is going to go down. The clockwork has stopped, and Castle trying to find solace under the tower. You can't defeat the landslide that is Crusher, and for some dang reason, Loopsters picks up a triple kill.
Yeah, they're not even going for Baron. They're just looking to end it right now, and they probably can. 15 seconds, all for one, and Janna Princess here. And frankly, you're up. So is Unstoppable Force. Crusher Cake can just dive you, and Longhorn are looking so clean in this game one.
It's well-deserved. 4 dragons, a soul, nothing, no towers, only 13 kills for TAB. LGP, Longhorn Premier, going ahead and shaving off their horns, making it as strong as they can for Ward. 27-13 for game number 1.
I swear, Orbital, I swear. They told me that this team has not played together before. Uh, they looked really coordinated. Yes, Loopster did get caught out. Yes, the early game was very, very slow. But when they decided to actually start engaging, huge props to Nas with those Enchanted Crystal arrows and Crusher Cake. Crusher Cake is their sub. He's not actually their starting top laner, but his Mel fight in multiple fights looked so clean there. The Unstoppable Force, the first two kind of whiffed, but he was so far hidden lane, it didn't matter. And Nas kiting at the end there. It's one of those rare games where Ashe actually looks good as an AD carry. Usually you pick her for the utility, and then her team fighting just kind of, somebody else is doing the damage, right?
Mhm.
That wasn't the case. Towards the end, you saw the shred come through, and I think the camera panned away just as the shockwave came through. Wasn't enough to kill the Ashe, still came back in, cleaned up as well. For the side of TM Ambition, I'm not sure what to say to them, right? They drafted a team fight composition. Those are your easier compositions to pull off here. Castle played really well on the Lee Sin. And individually, Rascal kind of lost the lane, but not by much. Sanom did really well in lane. And All for One and Princess Jana were the only lane that looked a little bit weaker, but in team fights, they looked strong. So it just really feels like, hey, it's week one. The teams haven't quite gelled yet. And you just kind of got to keep going at it and try and figure things out on the fly.
Yeah, we'll see if they can. Again, they have another game and possibly two to try and turn things around. So we'll see if they can do that, or if Longhorn Premier are going to go ahead and take a week number one spotlight match 2-0. Please don't go anywhere. We'll have more UAL content for you here shortly. And welcome back. Of course, we are here with the opening week, the opening show match of the UAL. And so far, even though the early game may have been a little bit slower, it does seem like Longhorn Premier have a very good grasp of how they want to play these games out.
For sure. I don't know who their shot caller is, but the team is looking very cohesive here. When they say it's go time, when somebody gets caught out, they all go in together there. And that's what you want to see. So I expect to see game two, similar draft. I mean, go simple, go big engage here, big go button, and everybody will be on the same page. But it bears noting, they have swapped sides. So it will be Longhorn Gaming Premier blue side this game and Team Ambition Black on the red side.
Yeah, and Team Ambition Black, they did not look terrible, right? Some of their team fights had some coordination. They just fell behind in the early stages, and this is to be expected, right? This is week one. Even though we're saying that, hey, these are players from Mad City, it doesn't mean that they're going to be perfect right off the bat. So to eat a loss in the early stages is not the worst thing in the world.
No, definitely not here. From what I've been told, their main shot caller is Castle, who is the only remaining player from Mad City here. And Mad City's attitude last bit when we cast them in week 4 was, we don't really care too much about the regular season. We just need to make it into playoffs. And so regular season is kind of training time. So week 1 plus training time, it's not a surprise that there were some rough edges to be seen. The bigger question to me is how quickly can they improve? Can they fix the problems from game 1 by the time that they get into game 2 here? And I think the biggest problem they can look to solve is early game, because we said both teams had a kind of sluggish early game here. You've got a Lee Sin for Castle. We do want to see early ganks. You don't want to wait till, level 5, level 6 to get the first gank off. If I remember correctly, First Blood came off level 6, Lee Sin going in, getting that Dragon's Rage delivery system off. That's really late for a first gank.
Yeah, and it wasn't even so much that that Castle was able to find it. It was almost gifted by Nas. Nas sat on the edge of, I think, the wall and actually ate the kick and was like, nothing's really going to happen. And all of a sudden, Lee Sin comes in on the side and Looper's in the middle of 3 members. So it wasn't so much that the first blood came around, but when you're playing something like Lee Sin and the Olaf, we were wondering where they were because there were some struggles all the way around, right? Mid lane, we saw struggling a little bit. The LeBlanc, I was wondering if it was even going to get off the ground. And then especially on the top side, right? Yes, Rascal got counterpicked and the Malphite came out. It still feels like the Aatrox should have been able to deal with that champion and still be able to farm up appropriately. And yet it was still falling behind at periodic times around the early game.
Yeah, and the Aatrox Malphite matchup isn't actually that terrible for the Aatrox. Yes, it's not great. The attack speed reduction as well as the movement speed reduction and consistent poke from the Malphite is a bit of an issue. But you saw that Rascal was able to get that Malphite low at times here. All you literally needed was one gank, and that could have converted to a kill. And that's why I said we want to see early ganks. That said, they are going to be red side this time, Team Ambition. So Rascal might get a counter pick. If they aren't going to counter pick their top lane, and they're going to save it, instead for maybe support or for mid lane, then what I would like to see is maybe a Malphite ban come through, because Malphite is blindable and will still have a huge team fight impact.
Oh yeah, it's a scary thought that a champion such as that has so little counterplay, right? Even we were talking about, right, when you take out the ADC, on the other side, right, that Aphelios could not build up any shred, right? Had to go the Immortal Shield Bow, had to go all these options, and didn't have the chance to scale up. At that point, a Malphite with a Sunfire Cape is indestructible, and we saw it, right? There were multiple times in those 3 aces back-to-back, I wanted to point out specifically, it was ridiculous watching the Malphite and Olaf take on 3 to 4 members at a time. We'll see if it happens here again, because we are into Champion Select here for game number 2, LGP on that blue side and TAB on the red, as you stated. And immediately the hover of that auction ban wasn't picked last game. I don't think it was banned either, but LGP obviously not confident that they can play it themselves.
They're just hovering. I don't think they're actually going to ban Akshan right away here. I mean, they didn't do it last game, and they were red side, so they're just playing with us, Orbital. We got to not get baited by them. Their bans last time were the RE, Graves, and Hecarim. And frankly, when you won like that and you were red side, I don't necessarily see any of that changing up. If anything, maybe you let the Graves through if you want to pick it yourself. It's Team Ambition's bans I'm a bit curious about. They banned Zed, Urgot, and Shinzao. And the Urgot and Zed bans are massive sort of I don't want to call them one tricks, but I mean, Cry Now and Crusher Cake play a lot of those champions. So I expect to see those champions banned. The question is the Xin Zhao. You banned it blue side when you could have first picked it. Do you still want to keep that banned and leave the Malphite open? Or do you ban it away and then kind of run back a little bit thinking that, okay, we might have other ways, other options of dealing with whatever it is that Longhorn wants to pick?
Yeah, they have a lot of their opportunities here. We are moving very slowly through this one. So even though LGP were able to win it out, they are taking their time for a few moments. However, that is going to be the Graves still banned away. So again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. The age-old tale of League of Legends pick and ban, still taking away those options. But here we go. Right, is that Urgot still going to be banned away? Because there were options. You talked about the Malphite. It is blindable. They instead say the Olaf is a champion, and I do agree the Olaf caused problems, but it definitely didn't feel as proactive as some others.
And the interesting thing about the Olaf ban, that they're banning this game a little bit, is also the fact that you don't have first pick here. So if you ban that Olaf and you're leaving that Xin Zhao open, well, Bumblebee can just pick that Xin Zhao. Or if you ban that Xin Zhao, Lee Sin's open, and now suddenly you don't have a great answer. In the current meta, I mean, the top options are Lee Sin, Xin Zhao, and well, I've seen Graves as well here. So it's curious if they're going to do that. LeBlanc being banned by the side of Longhorn here is surprising. They played it last game, and they're feeling like, okay, we're not going to first pick it, so we don't want to give it to you because we might not have the best answer for it.
Yeah, well, and still, the Xin Zhao, you were mentioning it, still going to be taken off the table. I kind of agree with this. It might be a big shift in that jungle role then, because it felt like the Olaf, of course, was the answer to the Lee Sin. And with the Lee Sin now on the other side, we could see a drastically different early game. And that's something that I would preferably really like. We talked about it, right? If you're going to pick early game champions, don't go slow in the early game. Let's see some action. Let's see some rumbling in the pit. And LGP, bring it out. They say, it's open. It's open. Yeah. You did it to us last time. We'll take it ourselves.
And now the question becomes, what is your answer, Team Ambition here? We did see a Hecarim ban that got switched up for the LeBlanc. So maybe it is that Hecarim for Castle here. And okay, yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a great answer into Lee Sin, but you don't pick it as an answer to Lee Sin. You pick it as a ganking jungler. And honestly, when the changes to Divine Sunderer came in initially, there were hints of Hecarim coming back into meta. Never fully came in here. So I'm happy to see Castle pick it up. And if you pick that Hecarim and you don't give me early ganks, I'm going to be extremely, extremely disappointed.
Yeah, well, you had the prep, though, because not only do you have the horse, you have the Amazon potentially coming out on the arrows. Yes, it is going to be the Ashe once again coming out here to have some fun, but this time it is for all for one. So we're seeing a little bit of a trade of compositions here. Remember, and again, it is LGP on the blue side. They are picking up some of these champions, and the Urgot, it was left open. It was left open. We are loving it here. One trick on board, at least one of them for Crusher Cake. And to think, Crusher Cake won with Malphite before. Rascal has got to come up with something to deal with this champion.
I don't know, Orbital, if Urgot has any strong counters in lane. I feel like he's one of those champions like Yorick. He walked into a bar, there was no counter. So I really like this pickup because Crusher Cake already won the top lane with a Malphite. Now you're giving him a lane dominant pick as well. Chef's kiss, beautiful. Senna being locked in, that also opens up a lot of options here. If I'm assuming they're going to give it to Loopsters here. Senna Lee Sin is also a possible combo that we have seen paired with Senna before. So it might be that, and then you can potentially pick another jungle, or you can, just go sort of straight dive composition as well. Pick something like the set, like an Irelia or even something like a Maokai to pair with that, and then a strong mid laner. But for the side of Team Ambition, Seraphine gets picked up.
Yeah, well, why not, right? Yes, they may have spotted that the crescendo doesn't reach as far in some of those team fights and go, okay, we got to make sure this lands. We got to make sure it hits. Take the one that resets every time it hits someone. Go ahead and pick that one up. It is a scary bot lane. The combination still works. However, TAB, they say we have some strong ultimates. We can't give it right back over, and the potential for a Sylas pickup is still very much there. That is something teams have pretty much defaulted to at this point. Anytime you grab big ticket ultimates, take it away. Don't let the Sylas through. Orianna being hovered, though, remember, Sanum didn't have the greatest time on Orianna. Had an okay, I would say okay, early and mid game. Still, big threat for LGP's comp.
Yeah, and I kind of do like taking the Orianna away a little bit because you're already seeing so much team fighting potential come out, right? And regardless of whether or not Sanum came on the Orianna, Orianna is the queen of team fighting here. You've already got the Encore, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and of course the Hecarim just charging in as well to disrupt everything. You pair that with any sort of major team fight tool, and you've got problems. Now, Team Ambition banning away the Sona, Loopster did get caught out a lot, but still the team fighting tool is strong. And more importantly, they're trying to deny disengage tools. Seraphine is the queen right now of disengage, of counter engage, but Sona was Seraphine beta effectively, right? So the Sona will do the exact same thing here. I'm curious to see how Longhorn respond to this and what they choose to deal with, because their current picks don't do too well in team fights.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place, and a Shyvana hover here would be really crazy to see, but instead it is a Syndra, right? This one makes a little bit more sense. You bring that CC into the mid lane, and this is going back to pretty much, I want to say 8 and 9 is where we saw kind of the huge uprising of Orianna Syndra through a majority of the mid laners. It was just bring that CC to the table and run it out. We see the Xerath hover. I would have been very happy, but again, it is niche. It is only for solo queue. Please don't bring it into competitive play. We've seen it once, I think, before. I enjoy it, but it doesn't seem to fit what they want to do here. Instead, they go for the Echo, a bit more burst damage coming out for LGP.
I think you're not giving Xerath due credit here. I've seen him a couple of times.
Listen. Don't bash it. My match history is all Xerath games because it's the only champion I, for some reason, know how to play. So we're not talking about that.
Instead, we're seeing Echo and Karthus being picked up here. So I actually do think this might be a Lee Sin center bot lane, Karthus in the jungle, and then Echo in the mid lane, or Echo Karthus, I guess, interchangeable between jungle and mid. A lot of AP damage. And I had questioned, what are you going to do against this big team fighting composition? Echo's parallel convergence, great tool to mess up team fights. Karthus, Wall of Pain, well, and we have Yasuo coming through. So Team Ambition really all inning in their team fight here. Orbital.
This is my solo queue nightmare. This is my solo queue nightmare in competitive form, by the way. This is so do or die by Team Ambition Black, and I respect the heck out of it. But it is just that. It is do or die at this point. You have picked... Oh my gosh, you're killing me over here. They have picked some of the most gambly champions that they could have, right? You are taking Yasuo into what I'm pretty sure is a one-trick top laner who's dealt with Yasuo as Break this down for me, RMC. Come on, help me out.
Okay, first thing, we got an update from our producer here. It's not Karthus jungle or mid. That is a Karthus support with that setup in the bot lane here. Lee Sin in the jungle, Echo in the mid lane. So that's already going to be really screwy. Team Ambition, Yasuo top into the Urgot here. If I want to be Mimi Orbital, I love it. Because if you're going to lose the lane anyways, go for that 0-10 power spike. But realistically speaking, Yasuo actually doesn't do too poorly into the Urgot. You've got kill pressure. And that wind wall is a very strong tool. It can deny the Urgot ultimate as well. So I do like the pickup here. My only concern is, can you win the lane? And what happens when Lee Sin shows up into your lane here? Because if it comes to a 2v2 between Lee Sin Urgot versus Hecarim Yasuo, until Yasuo hits that 2-item power spike, I know where my money's on, and it's on the Urgot.
Yeah, and I'm still... The itemization choices that an Urgot has are much larger, I think, right? If Thornmail coming out for an Urgot, it can still nullify a lot of what Yasuo wants to do. So a lot of question marks going up there. Let's go ahead and move over. Don't laugh at me here. Listen, RMC, I know.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm sorry over here because I agree with you. This is... Okay, you know what? This is just odd. And you know what? If we talk about team compositions, we should touch into a little bit of that because... I think Team Ambition's team comp is really obvious, right? We're just gonna wombo combo you to death. It's basically what Longhorn ran in game one, except they all in on it, right? The only problem I'm having with it is you don't have great knockup to assist this Yasuo. You've got a lot of CC, a lot of stun, and I think the only other knockup they have on the team is Syndra Scatter the Weak. And I'm not even sure if that counts as a knockup when you displace people. It does. Perfect. So that's all you've got for displacement for this Yasuo here. And it's all you need because you've got enough CC lockdown already. The other side, though, Longhorn's composition. My goodness, what is this even? It's not a team fight composition, really. It's not really a disengaged composition. Kind of. It looks a little bit solo queue. It really does feel like they've got to win their lane to win the game, but at least they've got the tools for it. And right away here, Crusher Cake, we talk about win lane, win game. He's putting down the psychological pressure at level 1.
When you meet a crab in the middle of your brush and you're just like, this sucks, I gotta leave. This is what's gonna happen. I also do want to point out, I was looking at it, you said there was only one knockup. Hecarim's charge, I believe, is also considered a knockup. Yes, so these are minute knockups that can be utilized. Still, though, I don't think that's what Rascal was going for, right? This is a purely aggressive versus aggressive top lane. And I joked about the fact that this is solo queue. I love teams that go for solo queue. You said it at the beginning. This is going back all the way back to our pre-show talk about the fact that in week 1, it always feels like it all comes down to individual skill. And what better way than to bring out some of these oddball champions, test how far you can go with them.
Rascal doesn't see them.
Oh, and that's going to be a miss on the charge. So that is going to be red buff, though, taken for Yellow Bumblebee on that top side. That should mean Castle has plenty of information to rotate over and make it vertical jungling.
Sure, you might. Oh my goodness, Crusher Cake. This is between turrets. He has a family crusher. Let him live. Okay, that's it. Vertical jungling might not actually be an option for Castle here. You don't have that priority to go in there. And if Bumblebee just rushes from red to red, there's nothing Castle can do about it. You can already see that Naz and Loopser down in this bot side are already starting to shove the wave. They're not necessarily the stronger duo. They're just trying to shove it to make sure that they've got priority. And Bumblebee is actually going to stroll through mid lane. Castle now knows he got 3 buff. There's no option to try and answer.
Yeah, and this is a harsh point for the Hecarim, but it's a great chance to try and get some early jumps on. We talked about it, right? We want to see these junglers be more aggressive, and so far it's happened, at least for the side of LGP. But what more can you do, right? 3 buffing is great, but with the changes to jungle, it feels like it doesn't have as much impact as it used to. So it's not so much the 3 buff occurring, it's what can you do with it? What is going to come from that 3 buff stance? And I just realized we heard that it was Karthus support. It's not. It's Karthus APC in the bottom side. This is the old school APC with the Senna on that support.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, support is a variable term when it comes to a Senna. My eyes, though, are tracking Castle in the jungle right now. He didn't actually get 3 buffed because he took blue and ran to Bumblebee's blue immediately here. So he should be able to answer this. I love the adaptation from Team Ambition. And for Team Ambition right now, they don't have to win the early game. They just have to not lose it. And then come the mid game, they're the ones with the big wombo combo. It's on Longhorn to make the early... Did he not take the blue buff? Castle?
Yeah, he didn't go over, so it is a pure 3 buff.
He went in,
right? Questions abound, though, as Cry now is going to watch as that mid lane is taking very low. Sanum, though, dropped to about 100 HP. I don't even think Cry and Yellow were ready for that level of damage, because I feel that should have been a kill, but topside, no, Rascal took a tower shot, 1 more Q lands it, Crusher Cake gets first blood.
Well, that's a good start for Longhorn. That's exactly what they wanted there. And I am worried for Rascal. I was memeing when I set the O10 power spike for Yasuo, but it might actually become reality, especially if Bumblebee starts looking at the top lane for easy kills. Rascal TPs back into lane here with only an extra longsword and a refillable pot. That's not going to win you the lane. Crusher Cake killed you with almost full health and with half mana.
RMC, I'm scared. I don't want to see an Urgot run the rift, but at the same time, my love of watching Yasuo's fall to the wayside is winning out there too. Castle, of course, visiting the spot side once again. And I like seeing it much earlier, right? 4 minutes and 45 seconds. That's 4 minutes shorter than it was before. And my gosh, Rascal not enjoying this top side. He TP'd right back, and it's still at half health.
I mean, the good news for Rascal is that he's got enough vision that Bumblebee shouldn't, fingers crossed, be able to gank him. And the good news for Team Ambition is Castle did get an early gank, you know, kind of like what you're talking about there. It's a lot earlier with the Sheen as well. That is what you need to do as this Hecarim right now to try and balance things. And you can look for the bot lane, especially once they hit 6. Mid lane too is an option. Syndra's kill threat with that unleashed power is very strong. The only thing is that you have to do it fast enough that Cry now doesn't get out back to safety. Oh, he sent 3.
Rascal. He's getting picked on right now. That
Why?
was gifted to Cry, and Rascal is now crying.
That is so unnecessary. I mean, Cry now roaming all the way up there. This time does get punished a little bit. Sanom instantly just hard shoving that wave. And I think we can safely say that Team Ambition's top side of the map is no longer an option for them. We can just safely ignore it. Castle coming in, but this is a 2v1.
I mean, they can take it a chance, but Castle hits a little bit of a wrong side with no mana, though. Castle should be able to make this work. Yeah, he's going to come down with the Conqueror stacks. He is going to win that 2v1. I kind of expected that. It was still a lot closer than I feel it should have been.
Yeah, honestly, if Bumblebee had completed, that jungle item quest, if he had that challenging smite, might have changed the deal, but he didn't, and Castle was able to equalize. They're still down gold, though, because sure, you got the kill, but Rascal's still down in lane, and Crusher still has teleport available, is going to come right back into it, and the abuse in the top lane is going to continue. If anything, Rascal right now is bait, and I want to see Castle continuously revisit this top lane.
Yep, they're going to go ahead and push in. They're going to try and make it work, and Crusher actually gets knocked up into the ultimate. Now a little bit of a revenge gank means Rascal is able to pick up 1, and the duel of the top laners is starting to come to fruition.
I love it, and the fact that Castle got the double kill, got level 6 early, bot lane though, all for 1.
Eyes are open as Janna Princess and All for One take their option back under the tower, and with such low HP, to be able to live that without losing double flashes is, I think, a gift in its own.
They have to pace here. You have to remember, level 6 Senna and Karthus are both global ultimates here. If that snipe lands, Requiem will guarantee pretty much a kill. And while all this is happening, while they're shoved under and Janna Princess barely survives, Bumblebee is soloing Dragon again.
That's... This composition feels like it shouldn't work, and yet it is. It's all the gears that you got from the toolbox that you haven't used in ages, and then throw them together in a machine, and it's happening, right?
Yeah.
20 CS up for Loopsters right now, multiple stacks on Nas. If we could get a check on that by our observer, I'm pretty sure the Senna is sitting with a great stack of the passive and being able to poke out All for One and Janna Princess. You were saying it, right? They just have to not lose. It's how gracefully can they fall on this bot side. So far, it's not as graceful as they would like.
Not in the solo lanes. And 30 stacks right now as we do pan over to that Senna. It's starting to become an issue. And for Team Ambition, your winning lane is your mid lane right now. Sanom is doing fine. And Castle is well and truly ahead. A level up with kills. Sure, you got 3 buff, but like you said, Orbital, it doesn't mean as much in the current meta. If you're able to farm up, you're still fine here. So I want to see them play around this jungle mid, because you can bet your bottom dollar. Bumblebee has already recognized that, hey, my mid lane is the only lane that's not winning. I'm going to set a tent up here.
I mean, you could, or you could leave Echo alone. I feel Echo is one of the champions that can actually end up just wave clearing, right? It's just a wave clear champion. Go help the rest of the lanes, and Echo will eventually get to that point, because this is what you can do. A little bit of a kick into a jump. Gets the slows down, is going to follow the Requiem, and doesn't even have to burn that Dragon's Rage. Just lets the Requiem sing the song of death. And Janna Princess is down for their first death of the game.
Okay, it's not 10 minutes yet, Orbital, but I am going to talk a little bit about actually. Hold up, Rascal.
All right, well, that's under the tower. Crusher eats a lot of damage, and there's not the threshold. Threshold not met by Crusher, so almost a trade of lies, and now Crusher. Castle... okay, Crusher's going to take a chance. Actually dashes out. Is he going to get the... He got the execute, Crusher!
You know what? That's worse from Crusher. I mean, sure, Crusher might have died 3 times, but that last one, I can't believe that he didn't give any kill credit over there. And he burnt the Onslaught of Shadows as well. That's Castle not having it. Sano?
All I saw was health bar low, and both of us went silent as Sanum is now pushed out of that mid lane.
Yeah, you know what? If Requiem was up, he's dead. Technically, Dawning Shadows is still available here, and Castle fighting 2v1 again. No ultimate, but he's still winning this.
Yeah, because that's going to be Rascal trying to chase, but it can't follow up too quickly, and that's going to be the kill. LGP get away with daylight robbery, and now Cry now. He's going to have to run as well. Bottom lane, we're seeing a little bit of a dance under the tower as 4 plates are now taken, and it seems like LGP have pulled off the ultimate robbery in getting that kill and getting away safely. Are you freaking kidding me? Sanum is now getting caught. He might go down. Nice Scout of the Week into Unleashed Power, but Cry is just too tanky right now, and Sanum can't complete the finisher.
Crusher Cake rejoining the fight there, manages to bail Cry out, and Cry now is an escape artist on the Echo. Last game with the LeBlanc, buying so much time. This time with the Echo, Chrono Break was down. He should have died, but he gets out here, and while all that was happening, we got to see the bot lane once again. All for one, Janna Princess getting shoved, and all for one going with the cull again. And last game, they got first blood and they went for the cull. That to me was like, oh, okay, you know what? I'm so far ahead. I'm fine with this, and I'm going to keep farming. This time it feels like uh-oh, I'm in big trouble, and I need to invest in the future because I'm not winning the lane anyway. So let's just get some gold so I can at least have some impact come mid-game.
It's a rough situation to be in with all lanes getting pressured because if you take a look, right, mid lane losing no plates at all, top lane only losing 1, bottom side 4 plates straight into Loopsters and Nasa's pocket has ballooned the gold lead here at 11:45 to about 2.2k. It is a ridiculous number to have. With only 7 kills between the two teams, it means a majority of this is specifically in that CS difference.
Yeah, and the CS difference is in the bot lane. I mean, if you look at the jungle right now, Castle is way, way up right now. So it's really just the bot lane, and top lane is equalized.
Oh, what? Cry now, just delete Syndra.
Protobelt, man. Protobelt's broken. Crusher, though, might be in trouble. Oh, great flash.
And a great flash out means the Requiem is going to come down, and Crusher isn't finished.
No way!
Longhorn Premier are getting away with these kills. They should not be allowed, and yet Crusher pulls off the juke of the game here in the top side.
Why is Crusher Cake not Longhorn starter? His Urgot has been so good. He's been camped, and he's making plays right now. And for the side of Team Ambition right now, you need to stop laning. Castle, oh you're dead.
Yeah, Castle is going to eat it, but a nice Chrono Break. That is a more aggressive use of the Chrono Break, I want to say, as they pick it up. And now a flash forward. That's going to be a crescendo, or not a crescendo, wow, encore, my bad. Loopsters is going to eat a lot of that damage. And he's going to chase. He just doesn't care. He's going for it. One more tag, and the Q is going to burn him down. And that's going to be the Leandries not taking the kill, but Nas over the edge is going to find Rascal. So they push the tempo a bit. They, limit test a bit there and are almost rewarded, but instead fall just short.
And the fact that All For One got out with just that sliver of anything, a minion could have killed him there. That was how close that fight was. It happens this time. I don't think it happens next time here. Once Karthus starts to get those items, Leandry's now built up as well. And Longhorn, they've got the items. They are happy to extend the laning phase. The less Team Ambition groups up, the better. They've got the globals. They've got the winning lanes. And now Cry now is receiving the Crusher experience as Castle continues to go back to the top lane.
Yeah, and they're actually met with a bit of resistance. Crusher is going to jump right in. Remember, there's no real flashes on their side, so this is going to be a 2-on-2. But with Castle so tanky, they're just going to shred the Urgot. So that is the fight LGP were not ready for at all. And Rascal is allowed a second kill.
Rascal's actually getting back into this game. I think at this point, he can probably... once he goes back to buy, he can probably go equal to Crusher Cake. Crusher Cake did pick up the Titanic Hydra, so that's nice. Now Loops are coming up here. It's a 3v3.
Yeah, and that's why you pinch on that one side. 3v1 now on Loopsters, who really has
He's got Requiem.
That's going to be rewarded with a kill. Now a Scout of the Week into the Unleashed Power and the Last Breath. Rascal is going to flash out of the tower. Can't finish it, and that means Yellow Bumblebee comes in to assist in the double kill for the Karthus. 4-2-0 is this APC on the bot side. This is starting to get a bit dicey as LGP pull away in a 9-6 overall kill count.
Oh, no, I wish so hard right now that we had a replay function, because I don't think Loopster actually got the Requiem off. I think he pressed it before he died, so it got canceled. I think it was actually the Defile which got him the double kill there because Team Ambition was fighting in the middle of all that damage, and now they have to be careful. Janna Princess is getting flanked.
Yep, and now we get to see the true Requiem come down.
Oh.
All the damage roots him down, and that is just a nullification of the bot lane once again. All for One and Janna Princess are now in the death chamber for another 20 seconds.
I don't know what I'm watching anymore. Team Ambition, please, for the love of all that is League, group up here. You are getting picked individually. Castle is strong, but he can't even find anything solo, and it just feels like Longhorn, they're grouping up faster, better, and Castle is going down.
Castle turned into glue right on that bottom lane. Rascal now going to get chased under the tower, and the Yasuo staves off a 5th death, but it feels like solo queue right now. I hate saying it, but it's true. LGP, sorry, winning every single lane individually and as a team right now. Looking at the gold, they are winning everywhere. You can see, except for the top lane, jungle, mid, ADC, and even support. Well over 1K over the lane opponent.
And the mid lane is where I'm a little bit shocked, because Cry Now and Sanum were dead even for a while, and suddenly he springs a 3K gold lead out of nowhere. That is the bulk of their gold on this Echo. I mean, we've been focusing on, Crusher winning his lane, Loopster and Nas dominating, but it's Cry Now who's the biggest threat for the side of Team Ambition, and they don't have a tank. That is very important to note. Castle is the tankiest member, and right now has not built the defensive items yet. It only sat on a Divine Sunderer. Cry Now can probably 100-0 anybody on that team.
That's the scariest part ever, right? You were talking about, having some of that. All right. So that's going to be the ultimate use very early on, but he doesn't really have any mana. So it's going to be a chase out. And look at the damage, actually.
Oh, my goodness.
Chunked out Rascal and said, all right, get off me real quick. I'll burn the flash. I'll reward you for your gank, but you aren't going to kill me.
But that was 3 people. Fine, 2 if you don't include Sanum, because Sanum was just like, you guys do that. I'm farming the wave back here. Right call. You didn't really have a great kill threat unless you want to commit everything into that gank there. But that's 2 members sent up to do that. And the worrying thing is exposed members like Janna Princess who's trying to farm alone. Why?
Oh, that is a Seraphine not enjoying the shotgun knees. Encore can't even be used. The exhaust was actually used. And that's just going to be another kill. Crusher at one point was 1-4-2 and has now expanded into a 150 gold bounty and 3 kills. Now they're going to take a chance. Last breath is going to be used. Crusher, a very nice windmill, I think, actually blocked the heal. And that means Crusher is very low, but the heal comes out. Now an arrow comes and hits the Urgot straight in the face, but over the wall they go. And Cry forces a dominating status as they solo out a couple kills. Nice knockup, but no follow through. Requiem now coming down.
Castle.
And everyone is going to eat the damage. It only catches 1. But 1 is more than enough. Yellow Bumblebee now taking a chance. That's going to Q flash and a dodge means Sanum actually gets the Yasuo killed. Encore being thrown out, trying to catch the Yellow Bumblebee. And now the Seraphine is back to dead. Back to back to back kills means a triple kill for Yellow Bumblebee and an ace for LGP.
Any red outside the base and the minions there, I see 1 ward in the top lane, and that's it.
And that's not even a ward. That's just a little greeting. But Loopster's caught on that ward is now going to eat his death. Flashes out. I think it's kind of a done deal though. With no mana, is going to step on that airwalk area and is now going to watch as the teleport comes down. They're chasing really hard.
No way.
Crusher actually makes it in. So yes, they get the kill, but they're going to change it around. And this is another chase. Team Ambition are watching their ambitions crumble to the ground. You got 1 once again, but you lose 4.
Not gonna lie, but even if they killed Loopster, I think Castle was probably gonna be dead to rights anyways, just because the Defile was there. He actually had to burn the Onslaught of Shadows too. That wasn't a turnaround trying to find anything. That was him just trying to get away from the Karthus, who was dead, and killing him. And now with that, I mean, they picked up the Dragon while that was happening as well. Bumblebee doing that off on the side. They're able to push in, and 5 minutes ago, Orbital, I was screaming, Team Ambition, please, for the love of all that is League, group up. I don't think it's enough anymore.
Nope. And at this point, they're not allowed to, right? LGP are literally saying, we decide if you're allowed to group or not. We're allowing you to stay as 5 sometimes, and sometimes we're just going to force you with 4, and they're doing it again. That's the Encore with. Only lands on 1 with a knockup into the Scatter of the Week. They are able to keep everyone at bay. Looking landing, that's going to be a flash in, and they boot the Syndra right back into Death's Hand. That's going to be a root gone bad, and Rascal is now getting chased out of that mid lane. This is LGP quite literally forcing their way in there, slinging the gold lead around, and they take an inhibitor at 20.5 minutes.
13K gold lead before Baron's even done it. They couldn't do Baron before. We're only at 20. We're not even at 21 minutes yet, Orbital. Baron literally just spawned, and look who's there. Loopster's in the area. All Longhorn need to do now is just go to that Baron, take that Baron, and push to end. Anything else exposes them to potential comeback mechanics.
All right, well, if there's one thing that Team Ambition have done right, it's looking for the picks, and this time they are rewarded with a shutdown castle, able to pick up that bounty, and Loopsters running on his own once again. So it's Chin. Oh no. Oh, jeez, that was a lot. That was 92 death, I'm pretty sure, in the percentage-wise. Loopsters now goes down, and Rascal's able to pick that one up. Now a chase through, though. This is just the game for them. They are doing duck hunt in that top lane, and that is a very quick 3 kills gifted over to Crusher Cake and Loopsters.
And I want to give credit to Team Ambition there. What Rascal and Castle were doing was the right call. Crusher was very, very far out. You punish that. Loopster, you punish that as well. The also lost Janna Princess, and you traded jungler for not jungler. And the moment that happens, you get free Baron. Bumblebee's available. Castle is not. There's no chance of a steal from Team Ambition here. And now everybody's up. Everybody from the side of Longhorn's going to have Baron buff. It's time for that last push. And just once this game, I want to see Team Ambition get a full 5-man wombo combo, get that 5-man encore, get maybe a 5-man stun from Sanome, onslaught of shadows into the backline, and I want to see that last breath from Rascal, because it literally might very well be their last breath.
Could be not. It depends if they have the opportunity. I mean, what better opportunity than having to force LGP to walk into your base, right? That is the one good thing to occur here. And with Crusher Cake and Nos on the top side, they might want to take this fight. Question marks abound, and look at the chunk damage. Nos is soloing out Castle, who is supposed to be the tankiest member of your team. Nos, a support Senna, as we say, you know, with quotations, is now fully online as well.
Yeah, that Divine Thunderer just kind of chewing through that tankiness. And Karthus as well, if he's ever there. They're going in. Have they found Nas?
Yeah, they do catch one. They don't trade anyone, so that's good so far. Cry actually got stunned out, so Crusher might be chunked out as well. They don't get the root. He is able to jump away, but the rest of the team is here. Rascal still wants to fight, and the blast cone takes. Oh, Bumblebee straight into the middle. That's not where he wants to be. Unleashed power makes his way into a shutdown kill. Cry goes right back into the enemy team. And would you know it, out of nowhere, yes, they're ahead, but that doesn't mean they're invincible. That is going to be Team Ambition Black getting 3 kills for nothing.
It wasn't the huge wombo combo I wanted to see Orbital, but this is just as good there. Being able to run them down one after another, really well played, and to stay on their execution. It's going to burn out majority of that Baron buff as well, and they really only got bottom turret for it here. Loopster's just pushing off on that bot side. Now, Dragon coming up in 5 seconds here. Loopsters might be getting caught out.
Yeah, and so will the Urgot. Oh, this is actually... Oh, never mind. All right, I lied. I lied. Forget everything I said. Crusher doesn't care about your feelings.
No, are you sure the Urgot got caught? Looked like the Yasuo got caught to me. Teleport coming through.
Yep, Lucifer's actually got caught, and Crusher now has to run away. He is finally going to fall with the Requiem going through. That is going to be a large chunk of damage. And oh my gosh, this is just fighting back and forth. This is MMA on the board. They are constantly fighting. CS, I'm pretty sure no one has over 200. They don't care right now. They are going straight for kills. This is 46 kills, make it 47 kills in 24.5 minutes. And with that final one, the ace is completed, and Longhorn Gaming Premier go ahead and cement the 2-0 status starting out here in week number 1.
Huge props to Longhorn here. Like you said, you know, their win really solid. The way they won, really solid as well. We did them a disservice by calling their composition solo queue, because now we see how it was meant to work. Yes, there were solo queue-esque elements. They do rely on, you know, the top lane winning, on the mid lane winning, but this bot lane of Senna Karthus was disgusting to watch. And really, Seraphine and Ashe couldn't do anything. They're squishy. Their range wasn't as good. Their only opportunity was at pretty much level 1, level 2, and you need to poke them down really, really hard. If that doesn't happen, once Senna starts to outrange you, you've got problems. The slows into Karthus' Wall of Pain, you saw that they had to burn Exhaust almost on repeat, and that's even without the globals. which came in later. And the globals guarantee that your your mid lane and top lane get to win as long as the enemy team's not grouping up and forcing team fights.
Yeah, it was a fantastic sight to see. It was a circus well performed, is the best way I can put it, right? It's one that you love to go watch because you see everything work in motion. It was a grand old time for Longhorn Premier. And yes, Team Admission Black, they come out with an 0-2 loss. It felt a little bit more devastating, but we said it before, right? We saw some glimmers of hope, right? Castle, number one. Castle coming out with some awesome stuff, and Rascal in the top side. Later stages, we saw it coming together. It was just a little bit too little too late. So I can't wait to see what else they can bring in the season. But again, Longhorn Gaming Premier coming out with a fantastic 2-0. And we got to ask, because there have been some roster changes on their team. I want to ask you, RMC, who would you say is MVP? I mean, I think I know, but I want to hear from you.
Oh man, that's a tough one here, because there's actually two people I thought performed really well. I mean, we talked a lot about Crusher Cake being amazing, but it's also partially because he's a sub that he draws our eye a lot. Nas is the other one who I'm really looking at, because the Ash from game one, the kiting was immaculate. And here in game two with the Senna as well, the bot lane as a whole, Loopsters also looked really good on, the Karthus, but wait, sorry, was the Karthus? I forgot who was playing the Karthus. Was it Nas or was
it was Loopsters?
Right?
They swapped it.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, then yes, it's Nas who's the other one, because I thought the Senna play was really clean as well, and the Dawning Shadows were really good. Just because Crusher Cake's a sub, and I don't know if we'll ever see him again in the regular season, I'm gonna give MVP to Crusher Cake, because that Mel fight, that was an absolute beefcake. And it came to the Urgot as well. My goodness, that Urgot did disgusting things. Yes, he died 3 times, but he forced the 2v1 in that top lane almost constantly.
Yeah, there was a very nice big tent, the one that you get from the fancy, shopping places. It was set up in the top side with castle housing in there. So it was very, very well done. And again, yes, Crusher Cake put on one heck of a show as a sub. Hopefully we get to see a little bit more, but maybe we actually see someone else step in and fill those shoes per se. But with that, we will go ahead and end tonight's broadcast of the Unified Premier Advanced League. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, my name is Orbital. With me was RMC, Random Mini Caster, for this broadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a fantastic evening.